So the second song on the record is "Where Have All the Old Days Gone."
Mm-hmm.
God, the world is so crazy out there, right? That sometimes I look back and go, why can't it be more like then?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, just everything has changed, violence everywhere, state of disrepair, and it's like, I'm a hopeful guy, but sometimes I can watch the news or the few times that I do watch the news and go, why? How can we put another foot in front of the other foot, and keep moving forward? But somehow we gotta. So talk to me about that song.
That was a fun song to write, man, because I remember when I was writing the lyric to that. The music is one thing to write, but when you start writing the lyrics, that's when all the cool stuff starts happening. I mean, I brought myself right back to junior high school when I used to walk. We only lived about 3/4 of a mile from my junior high school, and I would walk to school with friends every day and home with friends every day. And sometimes I'd walk alone when they were homesick, and vice versa. And it was a much more innocent world. The world has never been perfect, but it was so much more innocent. Like the song says, if my mom wasn't home, she didn't lock the door. I just went in the back door.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about getting kidnapped or, your friend's little sister getting kidnapped or, guys weren't pulling out Uzis and I mean, you just pretty much got in a fist fight.
Right.
And settled it right there, and I did many times. And, but the song is just about those, so much innocence is lost. And we all love this internet generation and our iPhones, but there's something to be said when we were having more human interaction with people. Yeah. And I try to teach my kids that all the time. My son plays his video games. My daughter's always texting and texting and texting. So, why don't you pick up the phone?
Right.
She's at dinner the other night, or talking about an issue she's having with a friend. I said, why don't you pick up the phone and not talk to her? Tell her you'll meet her at Starbucks and go look at her face to face.
Right.
And tell her the way you feel. Well, yeah, they always have excuses for doing that. It's easier for them to just text and get away from the issue. But
yeah, man,
I think most people, even in their 30s, agree with "Where Have the Old Days Gone." Man, so much has changed just in 10 years. Don't you think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and I think that I want to grab onto technology and ride it and help my life. But there are times when it's like, yeah, I'm just going to text somebody, and all of a sudden the human interaction takes a back seat, and all of a sudden it's like, it's just easier to text somebody. And now all of a sudden I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. Just let me text them. It's just
and sometimes you'll look at your own text and you'll say, man, I wonder how the other person on the other end's taking that.
Right.
Because what I just wrote is not really what's in my heart, but for the sake of I don't have time for a phone call. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because my wife and I will read each other a text like, what do you think they meant by this? And you almost read it with the inflection that you think, whatever you're putting on that person,
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even fair to them, right?
No.
They could have been busy. They could have had whatever, I mean, and too many times we lean toward the, why? What are they saying it like that for? It's like, they probably meant nothing by it, right? I mean, I know I don't, but.
And now you have the speak to text thing, You speak your text into the phone, and it gets half the words wrong. You better look down, man, or you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
It's the truth, man.
I've looked down at some of my speak to texts and said, thank God that didn't go out.
Well, honestly, that's why I like doing interviews. I like doing audio interviews because, one, we can keep moving. We can go ride our bike, or we can drive somewhere and we don't have to sit down and watch another YouTube video or whatever. But that's why I like doing it, because I think the voice really captures the heart. I mean, there's a sense of who you are just by what you're saying and how you're saying it, where if I read an interview with you, it's different. If I see an interview with you, you probably act a little bit different. Not everybody does, but many people do. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just think there's something about hearing somebody's voice.
I agree.
If we can't sit in the same room and have a cup of coffee together or whatever is the preferred beverage.
I totally agree.
All right, great. I have you totally agreeing with me. Let's keep moving then.